Hello, Suitors, and thank you for joining us here at AFTERBUZZ TV's coverage of The Suits After Show Season 6, Episode 6, Spain. We are going to talk about Mike versus Harvey versus Cahill versus Kevin versus Sutton versus drunk driving, and it'll all be here, it'll all be next.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Like, I have to get so serious.
It's the only way to be.
For your wife. How it feels.
You just got to do it.
Right. Hey, we got to come up with like a... Now we have to...
Well, now there's snacks.
Really
Thank you all so much for joining us
Yeah.
here for the Suits After Show here at AFTERBUZZ TV. I'm your host, Steve Kaufmann. You can find me on Twitter at Steve Kaufmann. That is Kaufmann, and we're at full strength here at the law firm of Kaufmann, Ike, Hobson, and Brajer.
Yeah. I love it.
That like really gets me going.
Right.
But that's our formal Twitter handle. As a whole office, individually, we are.
What's up, guys? Thanks so much for tuning in to another amazing show. You guys can check me out on Twitter and Instagram at OneTakeStace. I'll see you there.
And you can find me at the Tiona Hobson. And you can find me at Nicole Brajer. Good to be back at Suits with the best cast.
And
Ever
give me
here
1 second,
at
I'll pull up
AFTERBUZZ.
the chat so we can listen to everybody talking to us in the chat.
Let's
so
do
let's
it.
Look at that.
jump right on in.
Do it.
We ended last week with Mike having, with Harvey having, I don't want to say a convoluted plan, but very much a complicated plan
Yeah.
to both protect his client and get Mike out of prison early. We're seeing, and then we later learned that Kevin.
That's impossible.
Well, we didn't learn.
All three of his clients.
Like,
let's
We
add.
didn't quite learn impossible until today.
Right.
Or, well, until at the end of last episode. Now we really learned impossible, but at the end of last episode, we realized that Kevin went away for 3 years vehicular manslaughter for drunk driving, which we had already suspected was a lot.
Just wasn't the full story.
Like, he either
Never
killed
is.
somebody or he didn't roll over, and he was going up against a bigger fish to not roll over. Now we learn a little bit more, and apparently Harvey has free reign in this prison.
I'm telling you, the way he walks in there, like even the way Mike walks around, like who can
are
say an
these people?
inmate can walk in and be a fake lawyer to get rid of? Excuse me, you need to be in your cell.
Well, I mean, technically, Harvey represents both of those guys. So if a lawyer comes in and is like, I need to talk to both of my clients,
At the same time,
Did anybody
I
else?
don't know if it's
At the
against
same
the law.
damn time.
Did anybody
That's
else?
crazy.
Did anybody else want the one scene where he just Harvey'd his way in?
Yes.
Well, yeah.
That's what I wanted. I wanted the one scene where he's like, "Yeah, I'd like to speak to this client and this client in the same room. Are they for different cases? It's none of your goddamn business."
Like, and I'm bringing someone else with me in to talk to them.
that's what I'm
Exactly.
saying. Like that just looks weird, y'all. It's a lot.
Even going off like last week's episode into this week's, it's like there's just so much that he's taking on in this one particular prison, you know? And obviously it's a little bit fabricated. I don't think this could really like go down in real life.
To be fair, it's a back off. Because in a prison where he had that much clout that he can get Mike out for how he did,
Yeah.
you could probably get him in the same room.
Right.
Yeah.
If you can do one,
If you're
you
gonna
can probably do
believe,
the
you're
other.
gonna believe one, you're gonna believe the other.
Exactly.
I actually really enjoyed this scene though,
It was a great scene.
because Mike really just kind of poked holes at Kevin. He's been having most of this episode. He's been having kind of a crisis of faith about Kevin.
Yeah.
Of like maybe I don't like this guy. Like maybe I don't want to be in the same room with this guy. Like it's a lot easier to blindly hate something.
My thing with Mike, and seriously, we've talked about it in several other seasons, I think we've all had a huge sensitivity to the fact that he lost his parents.
Right.
But Mike does not forgive people, and that makes me mad because we have all forgiven him.
Yeah.
And like the firm's forgiven him. Jessica herself has forgiven you. Rachel's forgiven you. The guy will look at somebody, and if it has an inkling of something that has hurt him in the past, it's over. And I'm like, I can't with that. And seeing it, especially because at least for me, I have fallen. I like Kevin. I like that they are partners or whatever the case. You know, they got each other's backs. So for Mike to kind of do that for 30 minutes, I'm like, bruh, because he's done it to people before, you know, and it just was a little, I don't know, it was a little annoying for me.
I agree. I think that Mike he's just the person who, he doesn't know the full story, and he knows that Kevin isn't giving him everything. So And I know that he lost his parents the same way, and so you're sensitive to that, but at the same time, this is also the one guy in the prison who's had your back and hasn't tried to kill you.
Yes.
So maybe we should remember that part. Remember the good that he's done, because his actions, the one bad thing he did, doesn't define who he is as a person.
Exactly.
Agreed. I mean, we do learn at the end, hopefully, of this episode, he does give him his word. Mike's given his word a lot.
Right.
So
We don't know what that means.
there's so many lies going on in this season. You know, there's just so much manipulation, and it's really like giving me a heart attack. But I enjoyed that scene mostly because I liked watching Mike get his lawyer on again in prison. I was like,
That was kind of amazing.
yeah,
I do love prison lawyer Mike.
you know, yeah.
Like I can imagine him defending somebody in the yard. Like, Your Honor,
Prisons.
12 cigarettes. You should award my client no less than 12 cigarettes.
Funny.
God damn it.
Right.
I mean, it was good, I think, also for Kevin to see that side of Mike.
that he was good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. I love
When
that.
he was lying about being a lawyer, so
He was still
and
good.
breaking the law.
But I think there's also...
Mike
The
broke
key
the
is
law.
he's good, Tiana.
The key
Yeah.
is, Mike, you still broke the law just like Kevin did,
True.
so maybe you should not judge people in
He's
prison,
up.
which is
Right.
where you are.
I think he'll get over this.
I think
I think he's gonna get over this
He
one.
has to...
He
and
has
I
no
think
choice.
this is good writing that he has to face it. Because for the longest time, he's been able to just be... to have hate for an idea. To have hate for the idea of someone driving drunk.
Right.
So he's never once had to stare that in the face.
Yeah.
And share a prison cell with him and realize that, like, this is a person who saved my life on multiple occasions.
Right.
And like you see
And he
the
happens to
character
be
of
the thing
Kevin.
I presumably hate.
Right.
I mean, the fact that he didn't roll over on his wife, or you know what I mean. Like, I love the way Kevin talked about his story. He was like, I chose me over the mother of my children. Like,
Right.
it wasn't just my wife, the girl. It was, you know, it just I
Yeah.
love that really humanized Mike for me. I mean, I'm sorry, Kevin for me. So now I'm like looking at Mike like, what are you gonna do now?
I've always looked at him as a human since he saved Mike with the guard.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
always seen a good in him.
Right.
And it. Go ahead on what you were gonna say.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that Kevin's story with his wife reminded me a lot of Mike and Rachel's story. And I think that's because of the similarities is why Mike eventually is going to soften up. And I didn't want that to be the case. I didn't want Kevin to have a sob story to tell Mike for Mike to finally forgive him and move on from it and decide to do the right thing.
You
with
want,
Kevin.
like, to just come to grips with forgiveness.
Yes.
Maybe with Julius's help.
I was
Yes.
gonna say that maybe that's what helped him because didn't they meet before this conversation? And he was like, I just need like therapy at this point. Can you be a therapist for me? And then he opened up to Mike, so that might have helped.
How do we feel about Julius right now?
I
as a
like him.
Prison therapist? Do we like him?
I like him. I don't like the way Mike barges into his office
Every 5
week
minutes.
and is like, "Hey, you said you wanted to help me. If you meant it, get me some records that you can't technically give to me."
And he's like,
like,
and he's like, hold
demand-
on, bro,
what are
you're
these
on
demands?
speaker. I'm on a call.
Yeah, what are
Push
these
the button.
demands from the
Julius
inmates?
is doing the best he can. Like, Mike is still walking around like we're at Pearson Specter, who goes get crap. Like, this is not. What is that's the thing? Like, I love Mike. Y'all know I'm a ride or die, but Mike's attitude in these situations sometimes it's like Julius is the best we have right now. This is Julius and Kevin are your backbones right now, and you just stomping all over them. How about you tell me the truth? It's like, how about you relax? I don't know. I think that Julius was super awesome this episode. I love that he opened up. He's so real, you know. Like even the moments that it's annoying, he's real. So I appreciate what you just said.
But there's the me that wants him to. There's the me that just wants Mike out of prison.
Yeah.
And sees him and his advice as an obstacle. Of like, no, you should report this. You shouldn't rat on your fellow inmates. You should do the official channels. You should serve 2 years and be rehabilitated.
But one of the first things he said to Mike when Mike got there was that Mike needed to actually deal with what he did and process and actually, basically, you need to pay for what you did in so few words. So I think that his thought is not, oh, that's what he said. He said that Mike always got the easy way out. And this is another way of Mike skipping corners and taking the easy way to get out. And Julius is just trying to make him see, hey, dude, you ended up in prison because you broke the law.
Especially when he was in his
Accept
office.
it.
Like, you don't understand, like, the crap I've been through. It's like, Listen, man.
What
everyone in there has been through personal stuff. And
That was the thing.
Everyone
we
in
all had.
life goes through personal things. You can't use that as your way out. So
That was that line.
We
I
got a
was
little
down.
eye rolly, and I feel like that was intentional.
yeah.
I feel like we were supposed to roll our eyes a little at Mike, but like you've been in prison like 3 weeks, and you
That's
got
what I'm
out once.
And you went home, got laid, came back. I mean, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not-
you're one of the lucky ones.
I'm not saying I'm not saying all the other times didn't suck.
Yeah.
I'm saying like perspective and learning is and
Of
growth.
course, like,
and,
but I think because as a, I was gonna say as a cast, kind of, but like we've just had such sympathy with him, and I'm sure some of the audience members too. Like we have such sympathy for Mike in so many different ways that I think when he like throws that back in our face, like y'all don't know what we've been through. I'm like, but we've been writing for you for 6 seasons. We know what you've been through, and we're still on your side. So this week, like until we got close to the end, when you could see while he was listening to Kevin's story, he seemed to really like understand what was happening and what he was going to have to do. And that was a beautiful moment. That was probably when I was like, okay, let me calm down, and I'm not mad at you, Mike, but get your life. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was monitoring the chat.
How's it going in there?
Chat's going great. Special shout out to Lindsay Ivory Neptune. She's with us a lot. Theodore Schmauschwa. I had to hit restart to see a bunch more comments, so I have not read them yet.
Okay.
I think we're ready to move out of prison right now.
Let's
I think
get
we're
out
gonna,
of jail for
We're
a
gonna
bit.
we're gonna come back to prison at the end.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm lying. We're gonna stay in prison and we're gonna move to
to
death
another
row.
pro-
We're gonna go to death row.
We're gonna go to
I was
a
gonna
different
say we're
prison.
going to a different prison.
different. Okay.
Different prison. We
Have
got
we-
there through the pipes.
We got there.
We're out of Danbury and we're moving on to wherever Leonard is.
Wherever Leonard is. Rachel took on the case because she knew she could have Jessica's help. Rachel wanted to file a motion. Rachel didn't realize that to file a motion and get a case reopened, you need more than a textbook amount of evidence.
Yeah.
Something her professor could have easily told
Right.
her.
Last week.
When he was turning her down for the
Where he was
position.
like, "Oh, you
Keeping
shouldn't take this case."
But let's think about where this started. It was kind of out of left field for him to even pitch it to her in the first place.
Yeah.
Which is why when we were watching this episode, I said I think there's more to him and like slowly giving her like more chances with this case. I feel like there's a little bit more to it that we don't know yet.
In what way though?
I
Because
don't.
I don't
We
get
don't.
it.
I don't know.
Like tell your girl what she
I
needs to
feel
know.
like we haven't touched on this in predictions, and we can jump out on it right now. Do we think Leonard did it?
I don't.
I don't either. I hope not. I don't think so, and I really hope that's not a curveball. I can't. have it.
Yeah. No. What would be the point of this whole thing? if he did
Exactly.
it?
That Rachel needs to learn. Well, I think up until then, it would be a matter of like, well, Rachel needs to learn who to trust and like not believe everyone's sob story. But now that he has an execution date, Rachel needs to learn when to let go.
So it's all like a learning lesson for Rachel. You think?
And Leonard's just gonna be in between to help her learn. I don't like that.
It's literally going to kill a character to help her.
I don't like
feel-
that at all.
No,
Right?
I'm pretty sure Harvey's going to step in at some point and help.
Why does Harvey
But-
always
Why
have
does
to help
Harry-
everyone?
I was like,
I'm
why-
sorry. I mean, Rachel and her ability to practice law all on her own.
That's right. No,
Will stop the execution.
Jessica will
funny.
help the execution.
I think
will
so,
help
too.
stop the execution.
I think Jessica.
Help with the execution.
Well,
She
she's
is-
going to chop his head off. No, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Lord.
But wouldn't that be cool if Jessica did take one for the win?
I think she will. I mean, she, based on the way that they had their last moments in this episode, she said, "Listen, the execution date's been set. I'm not really sure how to do this unless you help me." So, right?
I don't. That's not how I read that scene. I read that scene as how do I tell someone he's going to die?
Wait, but if
Meaning
he's
that because you can't. Correct me if I'm wrong. I do not believe you can open a case if an execution date is set.
no,
Yes.
Or
that
even
is
if-
so crazy.
Or if you can, you have to do it before that date.
Yes.
And I think the second you give an execution date is the second you have an actual deadline on like you have to get the case reopened before that date.
So you can file an extension if there's compelling evidence that comes to light and new stuff. You can go to the judge and try to get the date extended or postponed until the investigation can look at the new stuff that's gone in. I learned this because I recently started watching Arrow. In season 1 of Arrow, they touch on the same thing. Thank you, episode 4.
Right.
Yes, we're gonna all tune in.
That is so funny.
But I also think in real life it's true because I realized I used another TV show as my point there.
Comic book TV show.
Yeah, the comic book
We
TV
love
show.
TV
But also
here
in
at
real life,
AfterBuzz.
you can file to get an extension. Because
That
I
makes
was
sense.
gonna say
but-
because that would be crazy. Like
Isn't that what they tried to do in the Green Mile? Oh my gosh, why is everything a movie or TV show reference?
that's how we
Exactly.
want
Fine,
it.
that's
folks.
fine.
I think that makes sense within all our law knowledge is other law and TV
Right,
shows. So I think we're all good.
seriously.
I think we're on an even
We're on the same
plane.
page.
At this point, I'm practically a lawyer, so
Yeah.
We've all been on this show long enough that we're all lawyers.
Exactly.
But they gave Maria Gomez a name. Now, does a character we've had characters in this series have names but no face?
So you're saying if you
Not.
did,
Only the
No.
secretary that passed away, Lewis.
Oh yeah, that was so. Oh my gosh.
but no, I think
Okay,
you're,
but do you think Maria Gomez could be an
I think
actual-
if you could dig up Maria Gomez, that's enough to extend an execution date.
For sure.
That would
Yeah.
you would need Jessica Pearson's help.
And do you think we're going to see Georgina, the old lawyer, come back again? Or was that
I-
her
first-
one claim to fame?
I like that she was here this episode for sure. That was really good. I mean, it's good to know where Leonard's past has been and who tried to help him in the past. And what sucked is she was like, "You're wasting your time," which like, thanks, girl.
Yeah.
Not, but it just was interesting to see that what her hardships were in terms of getting through with his case and maybe how Rachel can build from that.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping Maria. I mean, we've gotten a first and last name. So
I don't want this guy to go away,
Me
but I see
neither.
it as a life learning experience for her at the same time. So.
And Teodris Malshua in the chat actually, I'm thinking he refused to snitch on Maria because there's a theme in this season about dealing with issues and not using someone else's mistake to get out of your consequences.
Right.
That's
I
actually
see that
good.
too.
really good. That's the overarching theme.
Great point.
That's probably why Maria bailed. That's probably why he let it happen. Or well, he was in jail. He had no choice. He was in jail for murder. He had no choice.
Right.
But that's it, because I mean, it's happening with Jessica. It's happening
With
everywhere.
everyone that it's just you have to own your responsibility.
Love
and
that.
not use something else to bail out.
but if he's innocent, then
Then what the hell?
what the hell?
Well, he can't,
which
like
we
I
do
said,
hope
he
he's
can't do anything. If you dug up Maria, that's enough to extend an execution.
Even though she's a drug addict with priors.
But that's the thing. Okay, so
but
if
once
they
it-
were
again,
both high
but they're
at
not
the
saying
time
we're
of the
gonna
murder.
let him go. But
the
we're like,
whole
we should
point-
probably talk to this lady.
But we want her. We want her exposed so that when they talk, what we find out is we're letting him go. So if we don't even think she's gonna be a good
Credible,
candidate,
because at this point, like her credibility as a witness. What was the first lawyer's name?
Georgina.
Yeah, she already said her credibility was already not even worth it. Questionable because she's a drug addict with priors. They were both high at the time, she told me. So
But all that doesn't mean murder, folks.
it doesn't. But in the court, like when you go up on the witness
But that's
stand,
when it
you,
goes to
like,
court.
open yourself
They're not
up.
going to court. They're trying to stop an execution date. I think the precedent is different. I think if they could have that woman show up and said, this is a human being who was with this man the night when he was supposedly murdering.
How do you
That's
trust
an-
that? Because she could be lying.
But
Like there's so many.
Exactly. We need to not kill this guy
Until we
and
find out.
investigate it and possibly reopen his case to ask these questions. Because if we kill him, we don't ask these questions.
Right.
I think that's going to be their argument. Not necessarily because they think she's a slam dunk, but because they think she's a slam dunk to get him out of
Death row.
To just
well,
get
not
the
out of
case
death row.
reopened and
Not out of
postponed.
get the. I was trying to think of what I believe it's lethal. I think it's lethal injection in the state of New Jersey, in the state of New York. Someone will correct me in the comments. It might be the electric chair.
And I don't think we're going to see this case go away because of Jessica's point that she made was that this is going to look good in papers if the firm
Yes.
does
Yeah.
take a pro bono case and win and free a man who's been on. I mean, that's huge.
Well, truth
So
be told, if they get a man who might be innocent away from an execution date, that's actually good. That's already worth the press.
Right. So I hope
Don't
we
do
see
it for
more
the
of
press. We like Leonard. Get him off.
it's
please.
all about-
like
it's-
save him.
Well,
It's all about
everyone at that firm always has a motive.
agenda.
So,
It's all about
exactly.
it's all about SEO over there.
Yeah.
It's all about just how do we bump
You're right.
How do we
Exactly.
bump the Mike Ross stuff
Wow.
to the
But
second page
everything's
on Google?
also all about Mike still. That's the thing. It's just Mike isn't even there, and it's still all about him, and it's just insane.
It's interesting. Like,
Isn't it?
can you think of Mike? I feel like I'm gonna go back this weekend and watch season 1, episode 1 of just like who Mike was and how he whipped every single person under his finger. I don't. It's really beautiful to watch as like a character because it's like the dude. I mean, you're in. How did you get to play fake cop? I'm sorry,
Right.
I've never seen it.
But I think even as an actor himself, like morphing into this character over all these seasons, I feel like this season he's just so badass. We've never seen this like darker side of him. I feel like yes and no in courtrooms and stuff, whatever. But like, I don't know. It's like we said, prison suits Mike. So it's just haha. But I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I think I say it every time we're here. It's like it's so different, and you can see it in his acting. What's his real name?
Patrick J.
Patrick J. Adams.
So bravo. I mean, literally morphing into the character.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Definitely.
Let's jump into Jessica. We got a little bit of Jessica this week. She came in and out of a couple different through lines, but she's been doing what I've always said she's been doing, which is just sitting in the background, like signing clients.
Yeah, kicking ass.
She's so damn dope.
I know, she really is.
My God.
She
One of
scares
those
me.
clients was Sutton. Somebody please correct me if it's Sutter. It's Sutter.
Sutter.
It is
It's
Sutter.
Sutter.
Thank you.
Sutter,
Something
yeah.
was going off in my head,
Sutter.
but it's Sutter.
Yeah.
It is Sutter.
Yeah.
She went ahead and signed Sutter for all of his
Businesses.
for all of his business, not just the impending criminal case, and pretty much bent him over a barrel. I really enjoyed this.
It was beautiful, and I love the last line. He was like, "That's why you came to meet me at the restaurant, so that everyone could think you're already." And she was like, "Oh, I guess I'm good enough after." I mean, that
Don't even give me a menu.
exchange.
Yeah, she's bad.
That
she's
exchange
bad.
was that everything. Oh, girl, that girl is Gina Torres. When are you coming in the studio?
Stu is gonna get jealous.
I'm still hoping that they have a date.
We have
But
one
now-
more week. We have one more.
I know
one
you
more
guys
week
aren't,
before we
aren't
can
cool
ship
with
them.
it. I am, but
More week.
so isn't that going to bite them in the butt next week?
Well, here's the thing, because I had to write it out because I was very confused about everything that's happening. So it's Mike's deal is contingent on Sutter getting convicted.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sutter's business side of things with Jessica is contingent on pretty much Harvey getting him off, because if Harvey loses the case, then
have
Sutter's
no
going to be
money.
like,
That's not entirely true.
but he kind of said it.
No. Jessica's plan hinges on them signing Sutter and the case taking as long as the case takes, so that she can sign 5 other clients because she signed Sutter.
Yeah, so then that's where
So
I get
that
to
the conviction doesn't matter
but,
to Jessica.
Yeah, to Jessica. But in Jessica doing all of this, she doesn't know that he's now forcing Harvey to ask for a dismissal, which is shortening the timeline
Yes.
on all of this. So I understand where Harvey's coming from when he's a little frustrated with Jessica. Why would you go and force him to do this when we weren't there yet?
Yeah.
We weren't
Yeah.
ready for that
Right.
sort
But
of
they work well
thing
under
yet.
pressure.
They
This is
do.
what
They
how
haven't-
they
they do do
shine.
this.
They also
so-
haven't talked. Like we haven't this
No.
whole scene. I mean, this whole episode, we didn't see a moment of. By the way, this is what I've been doing. What have you been doing? 'Cause
Yeah.
that's the problem to me. Is like coming together after that and being like, so what did you do?
I think what-
this could have went totally
I
left.
think there's some plausible deniability those two need sometimes, especially what Harvey's doing to try to get Mike out. I think legally speaking, Jessica knows to not know.
Yeah, especially with like the whole colluding and all
She
that
knows
kind of
she
stuff.
shouldn't know
Right.
a lot of stuff Harvey
Yes,
does.
but I know
That's
that
kinda-
they had discussed, okay, we get Sutter, we get him off on this, and then, the rest of his business could come our
that
way.
right?
Yes.
And that was the last conversation they had. So Harvey's working on a precedent of we're still waiting to go after the rest of his business.
Exactly.
And Jessica jumps the gun on that. That's where I'm saying, okay, guys, remember, we're a team, so let's level it out.
Because if we do this,
Yeah.
it's tip over again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
Literally.
let's
Will
get
not
back
come back
even
up.
again.
Yeah.
Just
Seriously.
a quick text message.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm taking all of Sutter's business so we can get 6
Yeah,
other
exactly.
clients.
I'm at
Hang
lunch
on a
bombard.
sec.
I'm
Yeah.
attacked him at lunch.
JKLOL.
The Cobb salad was great. I mean, whatever. Give us
But
something.
he didn't show up to court for his case, but was at lunch with Jessica.
So ridiculous.
Like, oh, okay.
He's
so-
a great character too. Like he's very. What's the guy that? What's the guy from like a couple seasons ago? Badass as well. White hair.
You named a couple of.
Of the same people.
They all have white
They
hair.
do.
They're all like
Just
dudes
one
in
of the other
suits.
guys
Except
that
for
like
Harvey and
Harvey. One of the other guys that Harvey messed with a lot that we didn't really love, but it was also that like character that was like kind of monstrous, but you wanted to know why. You know, did he have? I don't know his name. It's crazy.
I'm like season like
No, just last season, like we thought he was gonna come back. Oh crap!
Forsman.
Forsman. Thank you. He just reminds me of that vibe. Like he's got something up his sleeve all times. We don't know if we trust him. That kind of thing.
Oh, Sutter's like garbage. I mean, after even the scene with Kevin, and that for sure sold the deal. You know, I'm Team Kevin, and Sutter has always been the a-hole. You know, but we've had to deal with him in this moment of crisis.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
But what really threw me for a loop was the ending, or close to the ending, I think, of this episode with Cahill talking about his mother. Can we did we even touch on that?
We should talk about Lewis first.
I haven't gotten there yet.
Oh,
It's at the bottom of the board.
Sorry. I thought we were like in the moment. Sorry, I jump ahead. It's all me. Sorry, girl. I want to talk about Lewis anyway because that was
I think
hysterical.
we all want to talk about Lewis.
Yeah.
I think it was.
I want to talk about Lewis's wood. That's really what I'm here for. No one else.
That moment was so.
Oh man.
Part of me. Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Part of me honestly felt like the whole like this whole plot line was gonna be just an excuse for those jokes.
Yeah.
So I'm happy they got them all out in one scene.
Yeah.
I was
It's like,
like,
what
did they
about
ad-lib
Ebony?
some of this?
What about Mahogany?
That was
ridiculous.
so much.
I was losing it. at
You
the
were.
table
You were
while
like,
this
you
scene
were
was
dead.
happening. I was dead. I love
Their relationship.
their relationship.
Yeah.
I love quote unquote dad humor. I love it all. I'm all for the corny joke. And when you start talking about wood and mahogany and how you have to keep it hard and soft,
rubbing
and
on it.
you're rubbing on it.
Work on it. I think just the commitment, like
The commitment,
Such-
yes.
It's surreal.
but such it's the tragedy of
Yeah.
the tragedy that makes that funny is that he does not.
He doesn't get what he's
I
saying, and
love
Donna's
how
here.
crazy he is.
But I don't get how
Stacey,
he
you
doesn't,
hate
but
it.
I just, to me, it's like because we're watching it and we know that like maybe because we've gotten to know the actors a little bit, we just know that it's all it's humor. Like it's all punchline, and I just can't. I want to know what the outtakes look like. I don't.
Yeah.
I just cannot see Rick Hoffman going through that scene and not busting out. How could? What are we talking about?
Yeah.
Like that was so.
Even with the cats, like the framed cat
Right,
pictures,
yeah.
everything. It's like these two
Lewis's
are like out of
character
control.
is hilarious.
Thank you for filling in a little comedy and
Yeah.
suits,
No,
you know.
that was
It's
very
good,
necessary
actually.
this episode.
No,
Yeah.
it
So-
kept us like excited to go back and like take our mind off the cases a little bit
Yeah.
and have fun with this. And I wasn't here last week, but I would have predicted that the architect, what's her name? Tara, sorry, totally forgot about her name. That she would fall for him. I did. So
Yeah, I think they should just date and not do the extra crap.
I was on the other side.
I totally.
I thought it
knew
would be one of those things where they kind of kick Lewis in the stomach
like
again,
you're a creep. Bye.
which would have been a fair response to what Lewis did this whole episode.
But Donna had the same reaction as she did. If you caught that, when he was like, "Yeah, I'm willing to like get this house and do this," and she was like, "That's kind of sweet." She
Helped
too
him
was
do
like,
it.
"No, but I'm saying that Tara too had the same reaction after he admitted, yeah, I just did this like crazy thing because I'm like in love with you." She was like, "That's the sweetest thing ever." So why don't you like it? I don't understand. I thought it was kind of like.
It's not that
if
I
you
don't
have
like
money
it.
and you can do it, like you just do things like that.
Here's where it goes south.
Okay.
It's a cute sentiment.
Yeah.
But tell me from the start, this is what you're doing. Don't lie to me about how your great grandma, you had this house
you
for
came up with so
generations,
much.
You put personal details in the home. That's where it gets a little crazy for me. And I'm not saying tell me the whole plan, just be like, oh, you know what? I'm buying a property out there. Maybe you'd want to come in and decorate it for me.
Actually,
That's
I'm
one
so
way.
obsessed
So, like,
with you.
so-
I'd like to buy a property
Yeah,
out there, so you
so-
can
I know,
come
'cause,
and
like, how
decorate
would he
it.
have
You're
told
saying it would have been
him.
different if like he was a little more upfront about the fact that he didn't own the house yet, like, and then maybe like came clean, like, hey, I actually just bought this house because I really want you to remember.
But I
that
think
I'm
that
important.
is romantic.
That
But
would've been
that
cute.
is
But he
romantic.
technically did
Girl,
say that to
He
her.
got busted.
Exactly. No, he
got
didn't.
screwed.
Somebody
I'm on
came
your
in the
side,
house.
Lewis. I'm on your
Somebody
side.
came
I
in
would
the
have been
house.
like, okay, that's
But I
cute.
think this was properly written in the sense that it blows up in his face and he has to admit
Address
to
it
it.
Yes.
there.
Because
Yeah.
if he didn't,
Always, that's him though.
because if he didn't address it,
Yeah.
he never would.
Yeah.
He would just
Then you
keep
would have really
hiring.
got buried in it.
He would just keep hiring her.
Yeah, and that's why as I was writing down everything he's saying about this house and how it's been an entertainment, I'm like, one day, because in my mind, they are going to be dating one day. This is before, you know, and I'm like, one day, she is going to realize you were lying to her in the beginning of your relationship.
Yeah.
And for me, I'd be like, okay, you lied about all that. What else have you been lying to me about? We're done. Like, see you later.
Yeah,
Deuces.
so this relationship is, for what it's worth, ultimately starting on the truth.
Yes.
Now, yeah.
Because they started
I
after
hope
the
this
lie.
works out.
Yeah, but only because he was forced to
tell
tell
the
me
truth.
because the owners came home early.
And then for him to say, "What the hell are you doing in my house?" I said, "Kev, okay, Lewis, you know this ain't your house though." Like it's like even then, like I would have been like, "Tara, let's go." Yeah,
Commitment.
the entire episode, Lewis. Good stuff.
Big question. Does he still get the house? Because the people were like,
No,
we
they
are
said
gonna-
No, I don't
they
think
said
so.
no.
Nope.
But maybe after they
He's gonna
heard
keep that money.
yeah.
He gonna keep that money.
Yeah.
keep that money.
And take her on a really expensive date, I'm sure.
Are they
Yeah.
gonna go mudding?
I am so excited.
I can't wait for them to mud together.
That's gonna be I just had flashbacks.
I think that's forever, though. I think we can all kind of tell that that's
This is
forever.
going to be marriage and
I like it. I like Tara a lot.
Whatever,
so.
but whatever forever
Lewis
is to
deserves
Lewis. I don't. Whatever forever is to Lewis. I'm not sure if that's what we would traditionally consider forever. But definitely
I think
forever.
he does have a
Forever in his
traditional
heart.
sense of it because the way he was with
Like
Sheila.
kid, but like wife, kids. I no, actually, kids is a big part of his forever.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah,
that is a more
I see-
traditional forever.
I see this going up. Going
Also,
big.
shout out to Rick Hoffman. You're on Ballers.
Ballers, yes, I
Dope.
watched the episode.
You had a scene with The Rock.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
I'm sorry,
And-
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Clearly, he's going to be
Right.
back for more episodes based on his storyline
Yes.
on Ballers. So make
Love
sure you guys
it.
are checking him out on Ballers.
That would be really weird if it was a completely different actor next
Yeah.
week. Be like, oh no,
No.
that rep is out now.
He had to go back to Canada.
I love our fans because they tweeted me and was like, "Hey, have you seen Rick on Balls?" I was like, "Let me visit it." So
And I sat there the whole episode waiting because I'm like, I
Right.
know he's in here. Did I
And
miss him?
that-
Did he shave his
People
beard?
keep-
Is that why I didn't recognize
People
him?
keep telling me he's in Ballers.
That's amazing.
I actually watch that show. Anyway.
for
It's a
you.
good
Yeah,
show.
you do too. It's a great show.
So let's kind of back clean up with all the Harvey Cahill stuff.
Okay.
And then any loose ends we caught, because this was all kind of the same case.
yeah,
Yeah.
We finally figured out Cahill's soft spot for Sutter,
yeah.
which is his mother.
It's big.
His mother teaches first grade in New York.
I loved my first grade teacher.
Invested in one of Sutter's investment groups. It was an investment group, or was it a mortgage
The teachers put their
pension fund? Yes.
pension fund with Sutter.
Yes, and he lost it all because sometimes people do that, especially insider tradery people. We finally got Cahill.
All she wanted to do was go to Spain when
And
she
he lost his
retired.
mom. That was sad.
Right. While she was still working, that touched me.
That was
Yeah.
super sad, man.
She wasn't able to retire, which
so-
is like a real thing that's going on in the world. Guys.
Absolutely.
Like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
scary out
My
there.
dad's in his 60s and he's still working.
Yeah.
I assume retirement's not going to be a thing.
I mean, I
Not for
opened up
me.
a 401k so I could retire one day, but like I don't put anything in there because I'm making enough to try
It's
to
like,
retire.
pause. I gotta get groceries.
Oh, man.
Like,
We all broke kid out
Right.
of this.
Okay, we working on it.
We live in Hollywood.
Right.
Okay.
So, how does the Cahill of it all reflect the plan that now Harvey filed a motion to dismiss and the judge is granting the motion to dismiss, and Cahill wants the algorithm, which is, as far as we can tell, not useful? Or
Yeah, because Kevin said that he created the algorithm and then he found out that he wasn't even using the
Yep.
algorithm. He was just insider trading
Yeah.
the whole time.
Does that doesn't mean it's still not useful?
Yeah, because Harvey and Cahill don't know this information because Mike has promised to keep his mouth shut
Right.
at this point.
But I think they kind of know that the algorithm's useless.
How do they know
think.
that?
Harvey kind of would know because Sutter told him, well, I don't even make my big money using that algorithm.
Yeah.
I got it all in my head.
That's
Right.
just a teeny tiny algorithm. I just
Yeah.
want them to not take it and pry into my stuff.
But is there something more to this algorithm that maybe even Kevin's doesn't know
Doesn't know
about?
about. That's a big possibility. The dude's figuring out where to stash things, so it's very.
No, I think the algorithm is like a basic, because it sounds like it's just because trades happen faster and faster. The faster you can make an algorithm figure it out, so much so that most of the trading we understand now is happening like within fractions of a second. So they always use these proprietary algorithms that are just trying to get faster than other algorithms.
Sure.
So like trading floors are actually just computers trading with other computers, and
Yeah.
it's the singularity is all I'm saying. But a guy like that will use inside information to actually, I really don't know. But to get to the meat of it all, Kevin's wife was involved.
Yeah.
And Kevin wouldn't, it's not that Kevin wouldn't roll over on Sutter, it's that Kevin wouldn't roll over on his wife. Mm-hmm. Which is the exact same thing Mike is doing for Harvey. So now Mike has to completely respect Kevin, so he can't be deposed or subpoenaed to say what Kevin said, because he had his word. He gave Kevin his word.
And no one knows that Mike knows this information, so no one's gonna think to
ask him for it.
Yeah.
So
Ask
now,
him for it right
basically,
But Mike's deal right
well, you're
now.
gonna have Harvey going back to Mike about what Cahill told him, and then Mike going back to Harvey like, I can't do it. So
I feel like Harvey, because I mean, well, you said that like no one would think to ask him, but aren't they going to think to ask him? I mean, that's why we are doing all this to begin with.
Well, I was saying no one's gonna think to depose him.
Right. Okay.
to
Gotcha.
do it at this point,
Right,
because at
right,
this
right.
point he hasn't told them. He's told them, I've gotten nothing from him. I know
Yeah.
the deal is, get information from him and rat on him, basically. But
I don't
he hasn't
see.
told
I
anyone.
couldn't believe that Mike took the deal from the beginning, and now just after these last couple episodes, I have a feeling this is going to go south.
It's
I
so
don't
confusing.
think because
Julius warned him.
Yeah, he did,
Yeah.
and even in the preview for next week, you see him like, "We're running out of time," like Harvey to Mike. I
Harvey's
think
like-
that was, and I just feel like Mike might stay in
we're-
prison.
But
no,
we're rounding.
I don't think he'll stay, but I do think there'll be some slick.
But like Julia said, there are repercussions for ratting on people in prison, and you
Even
might not
even
think,
the ward.
Yeah, it's like you might not think about it right now or what the damage could be down the line. But I think Mike is going to start seeing, okay, if I do this, I'm not just affecting Kevin, I am affecting his whole family.
whole
His
family.
his child will go motherless for the
man.
rest of his child's life. Like,
I think over time he can convince Kevin to.
I liked Mike Guy's
Yeah,
his
over time
idea.
he can convince Kevin to flip on Sutter, but give his
leave
wife
Jill out of it.
give Jill immunity.
Yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
that was a good plan.
I don't know why he was like, no. I'm like, why not? That's cool.
Because and I think what he said,
Because in order to get her immunity, you have to tell them that
you
she
have
was
to tell her if
involved.
she needs immunity. That
This reminds me
Okay,
of
but
Jersey
you should
Housewives
just-
a little bit.
You don't have to say. Do you have to say she was involved? You should just say that is my father-in-law's daughter, and I just don't want this ever coming back to her. It's. I mean, do you have to say much more than that?
I
No.
think the fact that you're asking
If
for
you-
her immunity
means
means
they-
that there's some
something-
sort of
Okay, so let's say we
guilt
don't even.
involved.
Let's say we don't even ask for her
Then
immunity.
they find
We
out
go-
about that she was involved. and
How
then she
will they
goes-
find out?
because
as
that's
they
the information he
investigate.
has.
Yeah.
That's
Damn
based.
it.
That's they would. By
based on the
investigating
investigation.
with the information that he gives them, they'd find out that,
That
it
was
was
the
her.
piece of the puzzle we were missing.
So
Yeah.
that he would literally have to say, maybe if he gave them a list of 100 people and Jill is just one of them,
And he says, "I want
said,
immunity for
all
100
of these
people."
people get immunity.
Yeah, right.
And only 20 of them are alive, and one of them is. Well, actually, no. They'd figure that out.
Exactly.
They'd still figure that
They'd
out.
still
But
Like
it's
that's his wife.
1,000 people, 1,000,000 people.
The first suspect is always the spouse.
Exactly. Oh my
what do you
God.
guys think that Harvey's gonna do with this information that Cahill
He's
gave
gonna
him?
try-
Yell at a lot of people.
Well, he's going to try to retract his motion to dismiss.
How can he do that? It already passed. Like they
I'm
said, it
not
was...
sure, but he's Harvey.
Oh my
find a
God.
way.
Yeah,
That's
because you know what he does? He
crazy.
comes in the scene, he just flips something on a desk, and he's just like, "I need you to retract this motion. If you don't, da, 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 da," and he just walks out the door, and then like the
damn it.
papers are signed, and then we move on to the next part of the thing. You know, like that's
But,
just
like-
literally what it
yeah.
is. So that's probably gonna happen next week.
That was so good. And
That
if
is
you
very
don't, because he always does. Him and Mike are the ultimate bullshitters. That's all I have
I
to
love,
say.
I love the
Oh my
storyboard
God.
answer of just like, no, Mike, or Harvey walks in, he lays files on the table, says some things. Judge has a
was
puzzled
so
look
good.
and goes,
Good point.
and then it's out. The storyboard answer.
Don't this and your mom and you bet I didn't know about it in 12th grade. It's like, what the fudge, dude?
The writer answer is you have to like fill in all those words and have them make
We need
sense.
We need the writer here, actually, in
Yes,
studio. So
we
can
do.
be like, what's your deal?
Yeah.
I think we covered it all. I think we're ready to jump on in to their predictions. Or
No, I was just going to say, did you guys like the dream sequences?
I love the dream
in
sequences.
this episode?
Well, I kind of freaked out by the first one because that was me being crazy and
Yeah,
the
see,
popcorn was
right
good.
off the
I
bat,
don't know.
Stacey's like,
I was like, Rachel
And I'm
died.
like, it's a
obviously.
dream.
Yeah.
Rachel's dead. Kevin killed him. Kevin's in jail, girl. How are you gonna get drunk and
Honestly,
drive
it was
and
like the
kill her?
weirdest moment because it was weird because
They
I
wrote
thought he
that
was
for you.
saying, yeah, they
know
did.
they wrote that for you.
Thank you. That's
They
all I'll
wrote
say.
that to just bug you out.
That was so annoying because I was like, I don't understand what's happening. So
Before we get into just regular predictions at large, do we think Mike will inform on Kevin in any which way? As we are essentially rounding third for this 10-week season.
man.
No.
No.
Do we think that Harvey will continue to represent Sutter?
Yes, till the end. And it's going to cause a lot of problems.
wow.
Yep. He's going to have to.
I think he at this point, based on his dealings with Jessica and everything,
Cahill and everything.
Harvey cannot get out of representing Sutter at this moment, just for the firm's survival. Because yes, Jessica has signed 2 clients, but we don't know who they are, if they're even big enough names to.
And
keep the
she needs that
company
case to
afloat.
go for like 5 months to sign
Yeah.
15 clients to warrant dropping him.
What about Gallo? Is he just like gone or?
I was wondering what
Because
happened.
we haven't even talked about him. And
I know.
Last time we saw, he was mad at Mike for not filing the motion right. And then
It was
Harvey came in and was like,
I'm sorry, this
I'm your
episode was so
lawyer now."
compact. Was that this episode that
No, that
he
was
met up
last
with?
week.
That was last week?
We
Okay,
have not
sorry.
seen Gallo this episode.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is okay. We needed a week off.
One last predictions question at large. Do we think Leonard's going to die in the
No.
next 4 weeks?
No.
Yes.
I'd have.
I'm with Tia. I'm on.
I think
I hope
that
not.
for a show that shows rarely any losses, sometimes you have to have a big loss. And I think that Leonard could be, if they decide
They just
to
lost
go.
their firm. That's a huge
No.
loss.
This is a person.
Not a
I mean,
person.
for a person and for the cases that they do, most of the time, Pearson Specter Lit winds up on top. You know, they throw Hail Marys. It's last minute. It's down to the wire,
Yeah.
and they somehow pull it off. But what happens when this is the biggest? It's literally someone's life is in your hands, and it's down to the wire. Will they prevail or will they go down? And I could see it going in either way. But I mean, right now I'm thinking that he might not. Just to kind of get this audience sad and
That's how I
Rachel.
feel about
because
it, too.
I totally got Steve's point from the get-go about the Rachel learning and overcoming this, and like it'll be a really good
I don't want
bad
learning
a
makes
life
you-
human
lesson.
body to be the point of Rachel's like learning lessons. I mean, we've
that's what
already
happens
done
in
that
life.
before. I know. I
For
guess
any
I just
person.
hate that. I think because I mean, they're throwing Leonard. They're giving Leonard these lines that are affecting us. You know, like I did this, and you know, he's saying I wasn't proud of who I used to be, and this and that. Like you're making us fall in love with him. I get it, it's a show. I'm moving on. Okay.
But
Anyway.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm on team that Leonard probably won't make it.
I'm on the fence. I hope we
Yeah.
see more of the case. Like I said earlier, I think
we're gonna
we
see.
will.
I think we're gonna see at least 3 more weeks of the
But
case.
I could see.
I think we're gonna see
why-
the execution get stayed. But I ultimately think we're not going to watch him die, but we're going to watch them react to the fact that he's going to die. Because I think that's the best way for everyone to truly deal with not only the loss of a human, but the loss of control. Mm-hmm. The need to let something
Lord.
go.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
And it'll just jump straight into my prediction. I think it's going to happen right around the same time that Mike decides I'm not rolling over on Kevin. I'm facing Gallo. I'm staying in prison for 2 years. And everyone has to deal with that at the same time they deal with a guy dying. And the guy dying actually gives them a broader perspective of, well, we'll have Mike back in 2 years. We'll have Mike back in a year and a half. This guy's gone forever. Mm-hmm. And he didn't even do anything.
But what about
Mike did something.
But what about
Yeah.
the firm too in all this? Just the firm and hold up, I had my thought with the firm and with Sutter's company being involved with it now. Like, is that gonna? That's another thing that could either, like Jessica said,
Well, that depends on how far
Hopefully.
this case goes
Right.
and if it gets, I don't think Jessica wants to keep Sutter for very long. I think she wants to keep him for appearances so she can sign 5 more clients like him. Yeah. So I think she's completely okay with dropping him in like 6 months to a year.
Right. Okay.
Do we have any
a big
other
concern of mine?
I will just say that was a really beautiful prediction.
Yes.
I don't like most of what you said, but
welcome to Suits?
but I
Welcome
understand.
to-
I can. I'm so sad to say I could see all of that happening, and I understand that lesson, and I truthfully think they probably do need it because even now, as they're reacting, I mean, Harvey and Jessica and Lewis, they just have not changed, regardless.
Right.
And I think it's like,
Granted,
we
only
have to.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're
Go ahead.
fine.
Go ahead. You have to what?
They just have to like get that lesson. We have
Right.
lost control, and we need to rebuild
Yeah.
from that, which I think they have in the
But
beginning.
granted, only 2 people are involved with Leonard's case right now. It's just Rachel and Jessica. So
But, I
it's
mean-
like,
But
Jessica
Jessica is the
Pearson.
firm. Jessica is
oh,
the
true,
firm.
true, true.
She's
So
like
she's involved, they're involved.
She is definitely
Right,
a top
right,
10
right.
lawyer in New York City.
Yes, yes, yes.
On this case.
Good points. Good points.
So, and I think that's what Rachel's gonna have to learn through Jessica as well as like that's part of the job.
Yeah.
Like,
And-
sometimes
Yeah, and like you said, it connects to if Mike then doesn't flip on Kevin and doesn't get out of prison, everyone's learning to deal with their consequences, which is what Julius has been telling Mike from the start. It's like, okay, the consequences of, all these actions and what's going on is Mike's now not getting out for 2 years, but on the flip side, this man lost his life. So 3 years in prison compared to being executed, in the grand scheme of life, that's not a bad.
So do you guys think? Because I remember you've asked before. Mid-season, is Mike in prison or not prison?
I've
Are
always
we
said
saying?
yes.
I'm flipping to
Okay.
yes.
So
I thought
now
it
we're
was
flipping because
no.
I thought it was no, and now I'm like, so this seems like if he does 2 years, and we're
I
doing.
think I said yes because I even have had a friend whose father was in jail for arson. This is real talk, and he's got out of jail early, but like not 3 weeks early.
Right.
So that's why I don't.
That we do
I-
a time jump between.
Yeah,
we do
I could see him still in jail at the mid-season, but maybe by the winter he's
a 6
out.
month time jump and he has probation.
I can get with
or
that. I
getting
can get
out,
with
or
that.
getting
Yeah,
out.
Or we do a 2-year time jump.
Now I'm not as mad at the 2 years.
He could get out
not 2
early.
years,
There
that's
could
a
be
lot.
another reason he could get out
Year
early,
and a
and that's
half.
just a prediction.
Or that he absolutely
good behavior.
half his
Good
time.
behavior does get you out early.
Yeah, but I'm saying he's still got to do
Depending
half
on
his
your
time.
We need to,
Right,
yeah,
right,
we need to
right.
believe that
Exactly.
Mike, because
that
especially after
he-
this wagging the finger thing, and you don't know what I've been through, you need to sit here.
Or
Like,
to further it, we have that scene where he faces his consequences, and everyone needs to learn to face their consequences, and then somehow they get Mike out anyway. Somehow
is
something
also
Mike already did, he gets out anyway, and it
consequences.
becomes.
Steve, what do you want me to believe? You're already making me decide it's okay to be in prison, and now you're saying he might. I'll see you next week.
I think that's a great sentiment
very
to
stressful.
leave us. Tiona, if people want to tell you whether Mike's staying in prison or not, and actually I will say I've seen photos on Instagram of Patrick J. Adams in a courtroom. Like, not in prison clothes.
Really?
But that could have been a flashback. That could have been a retrial. That could have been like
from season 4.
That could have been like 17 different other things.
Okay.
Because there's no way he gets out of jail and goes back to being
A lawyer.
that part.
Right on. Or he was in a suit for a court appearance. Or
She said, "Oh, we're gonna do it like that."
I love OJ wore a suit.
Or
so.
he gets subpoenaed to the witness stand because of Kevin, and then he pleads the fifth, or he just straight up lies.
Okay.
Something like that. If the people would like to talk to you guys on the Twitter,
Yeah, on the Twitter. You guys can check me out on Twitter and Instagram at OneTakeStace. Thank you so much for watching.
Find me. I'm at the Tiona Hobson. Do it.
Do it.
At Nicole Brajer, all over social media. Bye, guys.
and I'm at Steve Kaufmann. You can find me on Twitter at Steve Kaufmann. That is Kaufmann. Thank you so much for joining us for the law firm of Kaufmann, Ike, Hobson, and Brajer.
Hey.
Whoop, whoop. We'll join you after this recess.
Next week.
Next week. So, bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.